So the Alabama Crimson Tide are finally starting to roll, and Ty Simpson and the offense are a big reason why. Let's talk about it. What is up, everybody? Clint Lamb with A to Z Sports and Cover Crimson. So on Saturday, Alabama got a very impressive 38-14 victory over Wisconsin. Yes, 73-0 against Louisiana Monroe the week before. That's pretty impressive. I don't care who the opponent is, but when you start talking about Power 4 Big Ten opponent and you beat them by 24 points, really it should have been more, but a late touchdown made the score look more respectable. This was a dominant performance both on offense and defense for Alabama. Now, really, when I say dominant, they weren't dominant on the ground. They weren't a dominant run team, and we'll get to that here in just a second, but they were dominant through the air, including Ty Simpson. I mean, when you talk about what he did last week as far as a perfect 17 for 17 for 226 yards and 3 touchdowns with another touchdown on the ground, and then you combine today's performance, 24 of 29 for 387 yards and 4 touchdowns. That is 8 touchdowns accounted for in the last 2 weeks, 7 of them being passing, and he is completing close to 90% of his passes. This guy has been money. The command that he has for this offense as far as the timing and the rhythm and being able to deliver the football with accuracy and being able to layer throws and do a lot of different things for your offense, he has been outstanding. I mean, just the growth that you have seen, whether, from week 1 to week 2 or week 2 to week 3, I think he is getting better each and every week. I think he's getting more confident, and his ability to extend and just make plays with his legs, the escapability in the pocket, the fact that he can kind of maneuver and manipulate the pocket and elude defenders while keeping his eyes downfield, subtle movement to kind of keep himself clean to where he can make clean throws. Just an outstanding job by him. I cannot say enough good things. Yes, you want to see him go on the road to Athens, Georgia, and do the same thing against the Bulldogs in a couple of weeks. Doesn't mean it's going to happen at all, but I think that when you talk about guys needing confidence going into a matchup like that, I think Ty is going to be going into the bye week as confident as he possibly could. And then, of course, you got to go on the road and play Georgia. A couple of weeks for these guys to get better, but Ty Simpson, just hats off to him and the performance that he had today against Wisconsin and really the performance that he has had the last couple of weeks. But it's not just him. He's got guys on the receiving end of that, and that includes Ron Williams, who, was dealing with a concussion last week against Louisiana Monroe, and I understand that a lot of fans were frustrated with him after the 3-drop performance against Florida State. Everybody played bad, but Ron Williams didn't get that opportunity to kind of right that ship against Louisiana Monroe, and a lot of fans were frustrated with him going into this game. Well, for anybody that was doubting him or thinking he should go to the bench or anything else, 5 catches on 6 targets for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. And just this guy's ability, the 109 yards that he had in yards after the catch, outstanding. The guy is a bona fide playmaker, dynamic, and what he does for Alabama's offense, I don't think people quite realize or appreciate just how effective this guy is. Not only presenting opportunities for himself, but presenting opportunities for others. So extremely impressed with his performance. Don't want anybody to hold anything against him as far as the 1 drop that he had against Wisconsin. Yes, he could have had a 3rd touchdown catch. Yes, you want to see him secure that. That type of play could be coming, down the road in a really critical moment, and he's got to be able to come up with a catch. I understand that. He's got to continue to get better. But he proved today that he is still one of the most dynamic players in all of college football. It wasn't just him, though. Jeremy Bernard was a starter for Alabama as far as getting the offense started, getting their juices going a little bit early. Loved the reliability, loved the consistency, and I love the way that they can use him, whether it be kind of in the backfield, kind of obviously you're going to play him out wide, you're going to play him in the slot, move him around, do different things with him. Just this wide receiver room and where it's at with those 4 guys and then Rico Scott, very good place. And it's a lot of problems as far as preparation, figuring out how you're going to stop all these different weapons for Alabama. Yes, I'm concerned about the run game. The inability for the offensive line to get a consistent push, that's something that I'm going to be monitoring moving forward. There's no doubt about it. They've gotten 0 consistent push since that first drive against Florida State this entire season. And you love what Kevin Riley is providing when he is given opportunities. The problem is just the running room was not there today. Hopefully, Jam Miller can help somewhat with that because not only does he bring the explosiveness similar to a Kevin Riley, but he brings a power element as well. But this has got to be the offensive line, and they've got to get that fixed. And Michael Carroll, at some point, I do feel like he's going to be one of these solutions there at right tackle. The nastiness that he plays with can move guys. Jaden Roberts also think he probably needs to eventually become Alabama's starting right guard again. They have guys that can move people. They've got to be able to do it, though. So that is something that if you're concerned about that, you should be. But I am impressed with the passing game and the success that the passing game had, despite the fact that there was no complimentary run game. Like, I don't think people are appreciating that enough. But when it comes to the defense, obviously you don't want to give up that late touchdown, but the other touchdown came on a kickoff return. So the defense only allowed one touchdown much later in the game. Otherwise, they were very effective. Came into this game with 0 sacks through the first 2 games, had 4 today. You had L.T. Overton, you had Lennon Simmons, the true freshman, you had Yanze Pierre, you had Quay Russaw. Spread it out. A lot of guys had success. I am concerned somewhat about L.T. Overton. We'll have to wait and get a status update on him as far as the injury and him having to leave early. But, I thought he was better at finishing. London Simmons probably could have had another sack. He did a really good job of being active. Getting up and down the line of scrimmage was also disruptive. And so just overall, I was really impressed with his performance, was really impressed with those edge guys. Yanze Pierre has a little bit of twitch, a little bit of juice, and I think they're finally starting to get him going. And then Quay Russaw, being able to turn the corner on that right tackle, that's exactly what we were expecting from him. He's got some explosiveness, some twitch, and just, he needs to continue to work and get better. But, I was extremely impressed with him. Bray Hubbard, if we're going to criticize, we're going to praise. And Bray Hubbard the last 2 weeks, especially on Saturday against Wisconsin, but really the last 2 weeks, he has played with his hair on fire, played with passion, played with energy. And after the performance against Florida State, which did warrant criticism, he has really turned it around and been the type of player that we were all expecting him to be. So I give him a ton of credit for that. Not only did he get the 2 interceptions, which means he now has 5, I think, within his first 9 or 10 starts as a safety. That's really impressive, but also very good job of triggering downhill with violence. Yes, he did miss 1 tackle. You never want to see that, but he actually did a phenomenal job today of just always being around the football, being a guy that was playing with a lot of energy. Really liked what I saw from him. Really liked what I saw from the defense. The second level, Deontay Lawson, Justin Jefferson, think they both played pretty well. I was as impressed with this performance as I possibly could have been. It's the same as last week. Obviously, you can take away a lot more from this game, but everything Alabama has needed to do the last 2 weeks to try to right the Florida State ship, they have done everything in their power. But it doesn't matter because now it is a bye week and then it's Georgia. And now the opponents, the top 25 opponents, opening up SEC play, anybody can beat you at any time. This is Alabama's got to keep its foot on the gas. No brakes, all gas. That's what this has to be. We are starting to sing their praises again, rightfully so, by the way, but they can't let that go to their head because if they do, they are going to end up having a slip up like they have multiple times last season when everybody was singing their praises after Georgia. And right before the Oklahoma game, everybody was thinking deadlock for the college football playoff. Michigan doesn't have a whole lot of people there. Alabama should be able to get to 10 wins. Don't get that done. Florida State, 2-10 football team. Alabama is expected to be one of the best teams in the country. End up losing to Florida State. So at some point, they've got to be able to handle the praise. We're praising because it's warranted, but you've got to go out there and handle it. So hopefully they do that during the bye week. They keep this energy. They keep this focus because if they do, they can be one of the more dangerous teams in college football. But that remains to be seen. I'm cautiously optimistic. So hopefully they're able to do that with the bye week coming up and then Georgia in week 5.